Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the Cam Rogers Show on this MLK Monday, January 15th, 2018. I am Cam Rogers. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Rogers99. It is episode 52 of the Cam Rogers Show. So much to get to within this hour. We take you up until 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We've got breaking news that we are following literally moments ago. This was just filed to me. You see it at the top of your screen. Head coach Mike Mularkey and the Tennessee Titans have mutually agreed to part ways. This according to Field Yates of ESPN and then backed up by Adam Schefter of ESPN. So big time story here because last night Ian Rappaport tweeted out that Mike Mularkey was offered an extension from the Tennessee Titans, and it was looking like he was going to be staying in Nashville. Clearly not the case. The breaking news, Mike Mularkey and the Tennessee Titans are no more, which means Tennessee could have a head coach locked up, and that's perhaps why they decided to look in the other direction, away from one Mike Mularkey. We have the tweet right here from Field Yates, literally moments ago, folks. Here it is. Filed to ESPN, the Titans and head coach Mike Mularkey have mutually agreed to part ways, according to a league source. Now, we also have the Ian Rappaport tweet from last night, which says literally the exact opposite of what Field Yates just tweeted. So last night, Ian Rappaport went on to Twitter, and he's always got a great scoop. We all know how great of a job Ian Rappaport does, and sometimes, you know, we kind of say things that maybe aren't necessarily coming to fruition. Ian Rappaport, according to his sources, the Titans have offered Coach Mike Mularkey an extension in the wake of their playoff run. He's staying. So which side are we going here in terms of the situation? We're going with what we just heard from Field Yates and Adam Schefter, that the Tennessee Titans and Mike Mularkey are no more in Nashville. So the Titans, they're looking for a head coach, and perhaps they already have one locked up. Mike Mularkey now unemployed after what was really a brutal performance against the New England Patriots. Look, Ian Rappaport, I'm giving him a lot of credit because he had reported for so long that Mike Mularkey was on the hot seat even going into the postseason. If the Titans were to lose against the Chiefs, he was going to be fired. And if they were to lose to the Patriots, it was like a 50-50 proposition. And it looks like it is leaning towards that 50% that Mike Mularkey is going to be gone. So that is the breaking news here on the Cam Rogers Show. We will keep you updated with all of the details as we go along here. This is Chat Sports Facebook Live, and we want your comments, your reactions coming at me throughout the program. A lot to get to here. We're talking about highlights from perhaps the game of the millennium. The Saints and Vikings doing battle yesterday. I've got those highlights for you, plus all of the other games in the divisional round. You got the Eagles and the Falcons, Patriots and the Titans, and the Steelers and the Jags. And then later, I'm power ranking the 4 potential Super Bowl matchups. So I'll count you down from number 4 to number 1 in the matchups that I would like to see and how I kind of lay them out in terms of the headlines and storylines. And then at the 35-minute mark, I've got your latest NFL rumors. Matt Patricia looks like he could be going to Detroit. I'll give you more details on that later, plus the Denver Broncos QB search and so much more. And then at the 45-minute mark, the top 10 2018 NFL free agents. So I'll count you down from 10 to 1 there in terms of the value of each free agent. 3 Minnesota Viking quarterbacks, Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Bradford, Case Keenum, all going to be free agents after Minnesota's season is over. And then, time permitting, I've got a final word about major mistakes that NFL players tend to make in terms of guaranteeing wins. I'll tell you about it at the end of the show. But again, we want your comments, we want your reactions, we want your thoughts on the game of this century. Let's take a look. Saints and Vikings doing battle in Minneapolis, home of Super Bowl 52. First drive for the Vikings, it's Jerick McKinnon on the flip who takes it in for the 14-yard score. 7-0 Vikings. Late in the first now, 10-0 Vikings. Brees is going to take a huge shot downfield for Ted Ginn, but it's Andrew Sendejo with the pick. Fantastic grab there. 10-0 Vikings at that point until this. Latavius Murray cleaning things up on the goal line situation. Vikings score, and it's 17-0 Minnesota. And the Saints actually threatening inside the 15, but Brees' pass is tipped and then intercepted by Anthony Barr. And the crowd goes nuts. The horn sounds yet again in Minneapolis. Late third quarter we go, 2nd and 10. Drew Brees, with time, tosses a beautiful ball for Michael Thomas for the 14-yard score. Saints on the board, trailing 17-7. Next possession, Keenum, going to be under pressure here on 1st and 10. Flips it up for grabs, and it's intercepted by Marcus Williams. Hey, a good play by Marcus, but he'll make a bad one later. You'll see it. Saints sitting pretty here. Then it's Brees, slant, Thomas, touchdown, 17-14. Vikings lead by 3. Punting situation here for Minnesota. It's going to be blocked, and the Saints are going to get great field position here inside Viking territory. The Saints eventually charge down. Brees going to fire for Alvin Kamara, who hauls it in, and the Saints take the 21-20 lead. Game over, right? Wrong. The Vikings came back. Kai Forbath, 53 yards. Yes, sir. Converted. Vikings up 23-21. Game over, right? No. 4th and 10. Brees firing. Snead. First down. Saints continue to charge here. Then it's Will Lutz time from 43 yards out. It is good. Game over, right? Wrong. Desperation time for Minnesota here. Case Keenum down by a point. 3rd and 10. Keenum with time. Firing. Stephon Diggs. Marcus Williams. What are you doing? You got to tackle. Diggs is going to go all the way to the end zone and score in walk-off fashion the first ever NFL postseason game to end on a walk-off touchdown. The Vikings are going to Philadelphia. The Saints are golfing. What a game that just transpired yesterday. And I could watch this play over and over and over. Stephon Diggs, the hero of Minnesota, out of the University of Maryland, my alma mater. Fantastic camera angle here, by the way, on the sideline, watching all of the players knock Stephon into the tunnel, essentially, celebrating a major victory. So the Vikings move on to the next round. They are going to the NFC Championship game to take on the #1 overall seed, the Nick Foles-led Philadelphia Eagles. But oh my God, what a game that went down. And I don't know if we'll be able to top this game the rest of the way. Even the Super Bowl might be more boring than what happened yesterday afternoon on Fox. Absolutely unbelievable game. So we have a weigh-in for all of you at home. Was Saints versus Vikings the game of the year? And look, there is an argument to be made. Yes, sir, it was. Like, unbelievable stuff. Because you look at the Vikings' big-time lead. Everybody thought, all right, this game is over. And the Saints somehow come back. And then towards the end, it was counterpunch after counterpunch after counterpunch. And the final punch by Case Keenum to Stephon Diggs and Marcus Williams, you just have to feel for this kid. Young player, young defensive back, tried making a play, but really wasn't the right form. And Stephon Diggs saw green grass ahead of him, went all the way for the touchdown, and the Minnesota Vikings are thanking their lucky stars, while the New Orleans Saints players, coaching staff, and fans are wondering what if on this Monday morning, as we have a side-by-side of the local newspapers in New Orleans and Minneapolis, respectively. For the Saints, expletive, expletive, expletive. For the Minnesota Vikings, I like this. Let's skull crazy. I like that. It's fun. That's punny. So for Minnesota, they're moving along. And hey, the New Orleans Saints were fantastic this year. I had a great regular season, and they had such a valiant comeback in that game against the Vikings, against a very difficult defense. And I'm giving them a lot of credit. But I'm giving Stephon Diggs an unbelievable accolade here, because he is the hero of Minnesota now for at least the next 5 years. So for Stephon Diggs and the Minnesota Vikings, you all know that they are my Super Bowl pick. So I am extra happy that the Vikings won because, well, at least for another week, I don't look like a moron. So there you go. Big-time win for the Vikings. The Saints, they are heading into the offseason with Drew Brees as an impending free agent. All right, let's go to the first game of your football weekend. Falcons and Eagles. Let's go to the link. Into the first we go. Eagles on a 1st and 10. This is Jay Ajayi finding a lane, but then loses the football, and Atlanta will recover. The Eagles with a -2 turnover differential in this game. Falcons now on a 1st and 10. Tevin Coleman takes it outside. He'll go 12 yards and pick up the first down. That'll set up Matt Bryant to clean things up here as he punches in the 33-yard field goal, 3-0 Falcons. Into the second we go. How about this inside handoff to Nelson Aguilar? Great creativity, sets up a 1st and goal. Then it's LeGarrette Blount finishing the job on 4th and goal, 6-3 Eagles after a missed extra point. Then after an Eagles muff punt here, Ryan on 3rd and goal, looking, evading, and then floating for Devontae Freeman to make it 10-6 Atlanta. End of the half now. Nick Foles is going to throw downfield on a 2nd and 8, and doink, and somehow caught by Torrey Smith for 20 yards. No pictures on the scorecards, folks. So that drive led to a Jake Elliott field goal. Late in the 3rd quarter, Foles on a 1st and 10. Great footwork to find Torrey Smith, first down. Then Jake Elliott from 37 yards out. It is good. Eagles lead 12-10. Now it's 15-10 Eagles. 4th down and desperate. Matt Ryan looking. Julio Jones receiving. 20 yards. Move the chains. Here's the game now. 4th and goal. Ryan rolling right. No idea why they created this play. Ryan in desperation mode now. Julio Jones incomplete. And the Eagles, the underdog as the #1 overall seed, beat the Atlanta Falcons as I told you all would happen last Friday. 15-10, your final score. Philadelphia moves on to the NFC Championship game. Steve Sarkisian's offense, average at best, all thanks to him. I'm not blaming the players on that field. And the average offense goes into the offseason with more questions than answers. So Philadelphia, St. Nick, getting it done, 23 of 30, 246 on the day. So with that, can Nick Foles lead the Eagles to Super Bowl 52, which means he's going to have to take down Linval Joseph and Xavier Rhodes and Trey Waynes and Harrison Smith in that secondary there. So we want you to weigh in the comments section, ladies and gentlemen. Can Nick Foles get it done? Can he get to Minneapolis for Super Bowl 52? And I'll say this, yes. And will it all be on Nick Foles if that's the case? Absolutely not. He'll be a complimentary piece and a complimentary reason as to why the Eagles get to the Super Bowl, but he's not going to be the main reason like a Tom Brady would be a main reason for a victory for the Patriots. It's just not what Nick Foles does. But I still have faith in Nick to win this week, especially with the home crowd behind him, right? We're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles here with a solid home field advantage, and the Minnesota Vikings going from their friendly confines of the dome, if you will, outside to Philadelphia, where Eagles fans are going to be rooting for the first ever Super Bowl victory and to at least get there for the first time since the Donovan McNabb era, if you will. So for the Philadelphia and Nick Foles, the doubters, I think, should be quieting a little bit, but they could ratchet back up because Minnesota is coming to town. I'll tell you this, I'm not losing any doubt in Philadelphia. I think they have every chance in the world to take down the Minnesota Vikings this Sunday. That is the late window game. I'll preview that in a matter of moments. But let's get to the final highlight here, Titans and Patriots. There's a reason why this one's last, because it was your classic New England Patriots beating down on the Tennessee Titans. Actually, this is the third highlight here. I can count, I swear. So to Foxborough we go. Marcus Mariota on a 2nd and 10 late in the first quarter. He'll take it outside and pick up the first down deep in Patriot territory. That'll soon lead to this. Mariota, with plenty of time, on 2nd and 6, finds Corey Davis, who only needs one arm. Touchdown Titans, upset brewing. Tony Romo thought so as we go to the start of the second. Tom Brady on a 1st and 10, going to flip it to Dion Lewis. And Dion Lewis, with a convoy in front, goes downfield. Looks like he might not be down. Great intelligence there by Lewis. just to go into the end zone just in case, but it was ruled down by contact at the Titans 19. But no worries, 2nd and goal, James White takes it into the end zone. New England ties it at 7. And then just literally minutes later in the game, Patriots are threatening again. James White gets his 2nd touchdown of the night on this 6-yard run, 14-7 Patriots. And then late into the first half, 4th and 1. This is classic Mike Mularkey coaching at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. Derrick Henry bottled up. As you see at the top of your screen, this is why Mike Mularkey and the Titans parted ways, because the guy can't coach. 21-7, the Patriots lead at the half. Into the 3rd quarter, Brady off play action finds Rob Gronkowski, 27 yards. Patriots marching again. And then 2nd and goal. Brady's going to hand off here to Brandon Bolden, who gets in no problem. Patriots up 28-7. The route is on in Foxborough. And how about one more touchdown for good measure? 2nd and goal, Brady, Gronk. That is 6 right there. And the Patriots steamroll the hapless Tennessee Titans 35-14. The Patriots will advance to their 7th consecutive AFC title game. That's 12 AFC title games in 17 years. And in 3 quarters of Tom Brady's career as a starter, he has been in an AFC championship game. Unbelievable stuff. Death, taxes, and the Patriots going to the AFC championship game. Unbelievable victory. And we have some breaking news to go along with this one. This was the final straw for Tennessee leadership. The Titans announced they've parted ways with head coach Mike Mularkey. And Mularkey is now unemployed. This is a developing story, and we will continue to follow the details as we see fit. We'll keep you updated here on the Cam Rogers Show. But Mike Mularkey is gone. He is out of Nashville, and the Titans are now looking for a new head coach. And, of course, we are following all the other head coaching news and rumors, etc. I'll keep you updated with all those rumors coming up later in the show. We do have one more highlight here. Jaguars and Steelers. The Steelers looking for revenge in this one. Did they get it? Well, Le'Veon Bell tweeted that this is essentially a cakewalk, and, well, that wasn't the case. Leonard Fournette, 4th and goal, into the end zone, touchdown Jaguars. And then, Steelers fans just having nightmares with these interceptions from Jacksonville. Miles Jack with that one. Jags already up 7-0. And then Leonard Fournette makes it 14-0. Fantastic blocking there for the touchdown. 4th and 1 here. And the Steelers run a toss for some crazy reason. They are stopped. And then a 2nd and goal situation. TJ Yeldon into the end zone. It's 21-0 Jacksonville. So the Steelers, I mean, they're desperate at this point. Big Ben firing downfield for Antonio Brown. Beautiful play there. 21-7 Jacksonville. 2nd and 10. Steelers surging again here. Late 2nd quarter. Ben taken down. Loses the football. Telvin Smith recovers. And he runs it back for the score. 28-7 Jacksonville. All right, late here in the 2nd quarter. Ben Roethlisberger to Martavis Bryant on a 4th down. Touchdown, Steelers, 28-14. All right, 3rd quarter we go, 28-14 still. And this is to Le'Veon Bell to make it 28-21. But the Jaguars strike back with Leonard Fournette. He goes in the end zone. And another 4th down, Big Ben, touchdown here to Antonio Brown. So this was really fun in the 3rd and 4th quarter. Score after score after score. And then, how about this? To the fullback, Tommy Bohannon for the score from Blake Bortles. 42-28 now on a 1st and goal. Roethlisberger, backwards pass to Le'Veon Bell. He's into the end zone. And then an onside kick that literally did not work at all. I could have had a better attempt in Madden 18. The Jaguars win 45-42. The Jacksonville Jaguars, perennial losers for what seems like the last 7, 8, 9 years, are going to the AFC Championship game for the first time since 1999. They'll take on the standard of the AFC, the New England Patriots. The Minnesota Vikings will take on the Philadelphia Eagles at 6:40. That is your late window game on Fox. So there you go. Your championship Sunday is all planned out, and I've got the previews for you, an early look at both of these. And I do want to start off with Jacksonville and New England. This is the first game in your Sunday slate. Wow. All right, so who would have thought this matchup would occur? pretty sure I saw somewhere that there was like a 1.8% chance going into the season that these two teams would be playing in the AFC Championship game. So as you see at the bottom of your screen, and as I told you, Jacksonville's first AFC Championship since 1999. And by the way, guys, there's a certain person named Tom Coughlin in the Jacksonville organization, and Tom Coughlin knows a thing or two about beating the New England Patriots. Am I right or am I right? So, you know, I think it would be perfect if Tom Coughlin could put on the headset and go and coach for the Jaguars come Sunday. I just think it'd be awesome. Coughlin, Belichick, one more time. So the Patriots are 10-1 in their history against Jacksonville. The Jaguars have never won at Foxborough. They're 0-7. The last 6 meetings between these teams at New England have ended in double-digit Patriot wins with an average margin of victory of 21 points. But these aren't your uncle's Jaguars, folks. Jacksonville Jaguars are here to stay in the years to come as a legit Super Bowl contender. Now, you can talk about Blake Bortles all you want. The guy was efficient against the Steelers. And I think the Steelers, in an uncharacteristic fashion, weren't ready for that game. And just as a quick tangent here, especially with Le'Veon Bell tweeting that he's ready to play the New England Patriots and all this stuff, it's like, guys, why are we guaranteeing things in the playoffs? Next week isn't even guaranteed. Same deal with Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey said that they're winning the Super Bowl. It's like, guys, why are we guaranteeing things? It literally never works out. So for Jacksonville, look, I think they have the best defense in the AFC to combat Tom Brady. Why is that? Barry Church, right? Jalen Ramsey, A.J. Boye. Those guys can lock in on the softer wide receiving core of New England. Talking about Amendola and Hogan, etc. Cooks too. If you rough them up in man-to-man coverage, and here comes Calais Campbell and Yannick Ngakoue, the Terp, look out. Brady's going to be under duress a lot. So it's going to be very important for New England this week to run the football effectively with Rex Burkhead and Dion Lewis, especially on the interior. Pittsburgh did not have the right offensive game plan. They aired it out way too much. They didn't attack Jacksonville's weakness. Their lone weakness on defense is the defensive interior. If you have good guards and a good center, you can run the football against the Jaguars. They gave up a lot of yards on the ground this year. The Pittsburgh Steelers didn't do their homework, or they were just looking ahead to New England and ready to play the Patriots in Foxborough. So a weigh-in for the folks at home. Can you actually imagine the Jaguars in the Super Bowl? Like, can you fathom that? I literally cannot. But then again, could I fathom Case Keenum going to the NFC Championship game at the beginning of this season? Absolutely not. But he's doing it. This is the Cam Rogers Show here on Chat Sports Facebook Live. We thank you for coming along for the ride here. I want your comments. I want your thoughts about a wild football weekend. Happy MLK, by the way, everybody out there on this Monday. And we're rolling along here on the program. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Rogers99. So we just took a look at Jacksonville and New England. That's 3:05 Eastern on CBS. Minnesota against Philadelphia. The 1 and 2 seeds respectively doing battle. Let's take a look at this game here. The Vikings, well, they're 1 win away from a home Super Bowl, right? Because, of course, Super Bowl 52 is in Minneapolis. So road teams have been favored in conference title games 14 times in NFL history, and the Vikings are favored in this game. Those teams have won on 8 occasions. So more often than not, the road favorite has won in the conference title game. So for Minnesota, that's kind of good if you're looking at that. So for the Vikings here, they gave up some plays through the air. So they're going to have to shore that up this week. But Nick Foles is not Drew Brees, let's face it. And for Philadelphia, their wide receivers are not as good as New Orleans wide receivers and running backs. So for the Vikings, you would think on paper it's an easier task playing against Philadelphia. But my concern also is Philadelphia's got a pretty darn good defense too. So Case Keenum is going to have to make some plays down the field. Philadelphia has a fantastic front four. I've talked about it many times with Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox and Timmy Jernigan. These guys are legit. The Eagles don't have to blitz. That is one of the beauties of their defense. They don't have to bring extra guys because that front four is so elite, so good. So Minnesota, Philadelphia, 6:40 Eastern on Fox. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman and company with that one. So there you go. Your conference championship Sunday is set. I've got power rankings now for the 4 potential Super Bowl 52 matchups. Before we do, I will just take note of the breaking news we have at the top of your screen. Mike Mularkey and the Tennessee Titans have agreed to part ways. So Mike Mularkey is out in Nashville. The Titans perhaps already have a head coach lined up, or they are looking for a new one. So there is a vacancy in Nashville as we stand right now. That is the breaking news here on the Cam Rogers Show. We'll move along here into the next segment. Super Bowl 52, power ranking the potential matchups. I've got some corresponding odds that I think will change as we go through the week, so I'll preface this discussion with that. But number 4, Jaguars versus Eagles. This is probably no surprise to anybody out there. And look, let me just say this. We are splitting hairs because we are talking about 4 potential matchups. All of them would be entertaining. But at the end of the day, you got to rank one over the other. The Jaguars and Eagles at number 4. Blake Bortles versus Nick Foles really doesn't steal too many headlines. I don't think the companies out there with their TV commercials would be too excited about this one. I don't think there'd be a lot of points put up on the board. It could be a lot of running of the football and defensive plays. And if you're not a fan of that, then sorry, it could be like a 17-13 score, something like that. And look, I think the Philadelphia Eagles would win this game, by the way. I think they would win the Super Bowl if that matchup were to occur. But I've got them at number 4 in my potential Super Bowl matchups. All right, number 3 here, the Patriots versus the Philadelphia Eagles, 17-2 odds here. And you got New England probably going to the Super Bowl, but who knows? Jacksonville can kind of disrupt things. And then Philadelphia, home field advantage against the Minnesota Vikings, so it's certainly not crazy to think they'd get to the Super Bowl 52. But I've got this matchup at number 3 because I still think there's more intrigue from Minnesota rather than Philadelphia in terms of the defense, in terms of ability to put up points, right? Because the Vikings can do it with Adam Thielen and Kyle Rudolph and Stephon Diggs, the Terp, the hero of Minnesota, of course. So got the Patriots, Eagles as my number 3 ranking. Number 2, Jaguars versus Vikings. I put the Jaguars up here with the Vikings because I think this would be just an absolute brawl. And I think it would be a really fun game on the defensive side, more fun than it would be with Philadelphia and Jacksonville. And this could be like a 9-0 score. This could be like the old days of the 60s kind of NFL championship type deal, right? So I think this would be really fun for the old school football fans. So that's why I'm giving some like to this one here, and I'm putting them at number 2, the Jaguars and the Vikings. 25-1 odds for this to go down. This would mean the Jaguars and the Vikings would both have to win on the road this week in their respective conference championship games to get to Super Bowl 52. All right, and finally, my number 1 potential Super Bowl matchup, the New England Patriots taking on the Minnesota Vikings. 3-1 odds for this to go down. And everybody knows, at least if you're a loyal Cam Rogers Show listener, that I have the Patriots and the Minnesota Vikings going to Super Bowl 52. I predicted that at the beginning of the playoffs, have the Minnesota Vikings winning this game. I just think the surgical approach that Tom Brady has to the quarterback position versus the best defense, in my eyes, in the league, in Minnesota's, Linval Joseph, Anthony Barr, Harrison Smith, these guys are playmakers back there, would be super fun to watch. Just from an X's and O's standpoint, Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels and Tom Brady game planning for Minnesota's defense, I think would be a lot of fun. And oh, by the way, if this turns into a shootout too, I give a lot of faith in Case Keenum to put up points in this game. I don't think he's going to be rushed. Patriots can't rush the passer, although they've gotten better towards the end of this season. Keenum's going to have time in the pocket to find plays down the field to Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, and heck, Jarius Wright made a couple of plays yesterday. So I think this would be the ultimate Super Bowl matchup. Would love to see this go down. It's my #1 potential matchup right here. So as a summary, here you go. I'm power ranking the Super Bowl duels between Patriots, Vikings, Jaguars, Eagles, respectively. Patriots, Vikings at 1, Jaguars, Vikings at 2, Patriots versus Eagles at 3, Jaguars and Eagles at number 4. Those are the respective odds for all of those games there. So we're at the Final Four here, folks. One more time, a look at the schedule. The Jacksonville Jaguars will travel to Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots. The Minnesota Vikings are on the road to take on the Philadelphia Eagles, the #1 overall seed in the NFC. This is the Cam Rogers Show here on Chat Sports Facebook Live. I am Cam Rogers. How we doing, ladies and gentlemen? What a weekend of football. Go ahead and jump into the comments section. Let me know what you think about what transpired just a couple of days ago and yesterday. Minnesota Vikings game, unbelievable. Steelers basically laying down to the Jacksonville Jaguars until the end of the game when they started to come back. The Patriots steamrolling the Titans. Great stuff. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Rogers99, and as you leave your comments, I'll be sure to respond after the show is over. By the way, download the podcast version of the Cam Rogers Show on iTunes. Just search the Cam Rogers Show. Get me wherever you go. And be sure to ask me any questions that you may have. So we're following the breaking news at the top of your screen as you see. Mike Mularkey and the Tennessee Titans have mutually agreed to part ways. So the Tennessee Titans are looking for a new head coach. The Detroit Lions, well, they might have their guy now, and it looks like, according to all the evidence out there, Matt Patricia is headed to the Motor City. This is our NFL rumor #1. Adam Schefter reported that Matt Patricia is likely to be the next head coach of the Lions. Patricia has been the favorite of GM Bob Quinn all along. We know how Bob Quinn has those ties to New England. And the Lions had been seeking a defensive mind to really help bolster that side of the ball. That's kind of where they struggled, especially in the front seven this year, with the ability to get after the passer and stop the run. We know they have a good secondary, but Matt Patricia coming in, a fantastic mind in terms of defense, really a bright guy in general, really smart guy, can really change the culture for the Detroit Lions and make things really interesting on that defensive side. So it had been reported that Patricia preferred the Giants, but New York may be hiring Vikings offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur. So in that vein, Matt Patricia likely to go to Detroit. So since becoming defensive coordinator in 2012, the Patriots have allowed 19.2 points per game. That's second in the NFL to Seattle over that same time frame. So Matt Patricia, in terms of points allowed, scoring defense, probably the most important stat on that side of the ball, has gotten it done. And some other guys that the Lions have interviewed, Mike Vrabel was highly regarded by them, Green Bay associate head coach Winston Moss, Pat Shurmur also, former defensive coordinator Terrell Austin now at the Bengals, Lions offensive coordinator Jim Bob Cooter, but Jim is, of course, staying as the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. So Matt Patricia likely to the Detroit Lions. Of course, nothing official now because there can't be. By NFL rules, Matt Patricia can't sign with the Lions until the Patriots season is over, and it's very possible that old Matt is going to have to wait until February to actually do that. So that's rumor #1. How about staying in New England, going to another coordinator, Josh McDaniels, likely headed to Indianapolis. The Colts have narrowed its search to 2 candidates, McDaniels and Mike Vrabel. And Colts leadership will proceed today, like right now, with either second interviews or simply making a choice So we could be hearing this morning or later today that there has been a decision made. And Ian Rappaport has recently tweeted just this morning, I believe Harris Rubenstein, my producer, found this one. The belief was that Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels would prefer the Titans over all coaching jobs. The health of Andrew Luck was an issue, as was the high ceiling of Marcus Mariota. So this makes things a lot more interesting now, right? Because we have the breaking news with Mike Mularkey mutually parting ways with Tennessee. Fantastic pickup by my producer there, Harris. So now you wonder, is Josh McDaniels going to kind of slight and flake out away from the Indianapolis Colts and go to Nashville in preference of Marcus Mariota over Andrew Luck? We all know how many interviews Josh McDaniels has had. A lot. But now, with this latest development, it looks like McDaniels could all of a sudden reverse course, according to this tweet here from Rappaport, and this came minutes ago, just filed to us, that McDaniels could choose the Titans over the Colts. And it lends me to believe that the Titans feel very confident that McDaniels is going to Nashville. Why is that? Well, why would they mutually part ways with Mike Mularkey after it was reported last night that they offered him an extension? So somewhere in between Rappaport's tweet last night and then Field Yates' tweet this morning, Josh McDaniels sent a text message to Tennessee's leadership. Look, I'm interested. Let's talk. The Titans said, okay, hey, Mike, you cool if we bail? Mike's like, all right, I guess. I did just stink up the joint as a coach against the Patriots in the divisional round. See you later. And the Titans leadership is like, okay, great. See you, Mike. Hey, Josh, we got a spot for you. Rappaport tweets minutes ago. The belief was that the Patriots offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels, would prefer the Titans. It's all making sense now. So both coordinators for the Patriots, offensive and defensive, look to have new homes. Matt Patricia to Detroit, and very possibly Josh McDaniels to the Tennessee Titans. We're following these rumors here on the Cam Rogers Show on Chat Sports Facebook Live. Let's move along here. Le'Veon Bell. So, is a franchise tag coming for the star running back of Pittsburgh? That is the big question mark there. Ian Rappaport is reporting that Bell is likely to play on the tag in 2018, something Bell obviously does not want, because he recently said that he would retire or possibly sit out the entire season if he were to get tagged and subsequently earn $14.5 million. Apparently, that's not enough for him. So for Le'Veon here, I think it's just a game of chicken with him and Pittsburgh's leadership. Now, the season's over for Pittsburgh. We all know the Steelers don't negotiate contracts during the regular season and the playoffs and all that jazz. The Steelers are now into the offseason, so these talks could ratchet up a little bit. But Le'Veon Bell, talking smack on Twitter, looking forward to playing the Patriots, not going down. Instead, he's talking about a long-term deal perhaps with the Pittsburgh Steelers or a franchise tag. But do you really think Le'Veon Bell is going to be mad about $14.5 million in 2018? I mean, come on, Bell. You're not retiring, and you're not sitting out the entire 2018 season. Now, even if the Steelers do tag Le'Veon Bell within the window that they have to, there's time for them to work out a long-term deal by the July deadline. So you can kind of tag Bell to kick the can a little bit into July and work out a long-term contract. So that's the story with Le'Veon. How about this? We're staying in Pittsburgh. Todd Haley, offensive coordinator there for the Steelers. Very interesting report coming from NFL.com. It looks like the relationship between Haley and Ben Roethlisberger has been as bad as it's been in years. And we all remember the storylines with that when these two had a riff right when Haley became the offensive coordinator for the Steelers. And being a free agent now, Haley could be going with head coaching candidate and offensive line coach Mike Munchak if he gets the Cardinals job. That's very possible. And you actually look at the numbers here for Ben Roethlisberger before Todd Haley and then after, or actually with Todd Haley and with other coordinators, they heavily favor the Haley era. 65.2 completion percentage with Haley, 63 without. Passer rating of 96 with Haley, passer rating of 92 without. Now, these are marginal, sure, but still, they're better. And you look at the touchdown to interception ratio, Ben Roethlisberger, more interceptions under other coordinators for Pittsburgh rather than during Haley's time. And, of course, the sample size is different and all that. I get that. So the numbers don't heavily favor Ben Roethlisberger while playing in Todd Haley's system, but they are better in a general sense. But this is an interesting story because we've heard about it before, so I'm putting a lot of credibility to this. And for Todd Haley now being a free agent, it looks like he's probably going to move along. He could be a very kind of a dark horse head coach candidate too. I mean, he's been reported as a head coach candidate in years past. Remember with the Miami Dolphins a couple of years ago and all this. So who knows what can happen in Pittsburgh. We do know that Ben Roethlisberger will be coming back in 2018. He is not retiring. So that's the latest rumor with Todd Haley and Ben Roethlisberger. All right, how about the Denver Broncos here? Looks like they are pulling out all the stops here for the future of the quarterback position at Mile High. Now, according to the Denver Post, quote, every option is being considered by the Broncos. That's drafting a quarterback, signing a free agent, trading for a veteran. And the Post mentioned Eli Manning and Alex Smith as potential trade targets. How about that? Elway going out and grabbing Peyton Manning and then also getting Eli Manning. Big-time storyline there. Kirk Cousins, another name to watch out for. I actually think that's the more likely choice for the Broncos. I think they actually do trade and get Kirk Cousins and probably don't draft a quarterback in the first round, although Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen and Rosen are all candidates for the upcoming draft for the Broncos, especially if they trade up, but they're in a good spot there in the top 10. Regardless, it is no surprise at all John Elway is leaving all options on the table for the Denver Broncos and the future of the quarterback position. All right, folks, so those are your latest rumors here on the Cam Rogers Show. We thank you so much for tuning into this program here. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Rogers99. Now, you can see the jersey here, Joe Flacco. So I'm out of the playoffs, so I'm chilling just as a third-party observer, enjoying the games that have gone on. And that Minnesota Vikings-Saints game yesterday, as a pure football fan, unbelievable theater. And this is why the NFL is still king, ladies and gentlemen. This is why all of you guys at your water coolers in the office today are talking about that touchdown pass from Case Keenum. This is also why everybody at school is talking about this by the lockers. Maybe not today because it's MLK Day, of course. Happy MLK Day. But maybe tomorrow we'll talk about it by the lockers. All right, let's move on to my final segment here on power ranking my top 10 free agents of 2018. Let's get into it. Number 10, Teddy Bridgewater, quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. And really just a great story for coming back this season, playing in a little bit of that game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Like I mentioned, all three quarterbacks for the Vikings will be free agents. And I hate for Vikings fans to listen to me say, well, let's look ahead to the offseason here. But it bears monitoring that Case Keenum is likely gone. I think he could go with Pat Shurmur to wherever Pat Shurmur goes as the head coach. Perhaps Arizona. I think that's a very likely destination for him. So one has to believe that the Minnesota Vikings are going to do everything they can to re-sign Teddy Bridgewater to see if really he is the franchise quarterback in Minneapolis. You know, I think they're going to give a lot of credit to Case Keenum and the way in which he played football this year underneath Pat Shurmur. But at the end of the day, the Vikings got to know, is Teddy Bridgewater their guy? They invested a high draft pick in him. They got to figure it out. So I think Teddy Bridgewater remains with the Vikings. And he is at number 10 in my 2018 NFL free agent power rankings. At number 9, Sheldon Richardson, defensive tackle there for Seattle. And don't be confused, he's got a Jets jersey on. I know, he's wearing it on NFL.com too. Probably didn't take a new picture. But the Seahawks gave up a second-round pick to acquire Richardson in a move to put them over the top on the defensive side, right, to make that big-time push into the playoffs. Obviously, that didn't happen. Injuries occurred. Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, no playoffs for Seattle. And now reports indicate Sheldon Richardson could be headed to the Jets. So the New York Daily News reported in late December that Richardson is likely to test free agency with the Jets in mind, a team that really he never wanted to leave. And so it's very possible that we could be looking at a reunion of sorts with Richardson going back to the Jets, playing for Todd Bowles. He likes Bowles a lot. And Richardson with a solid year, 27th ranked defensive tackle, according to Pro Football Focus. So he's at number 9 in my free agency power rankings here. Number 8, Andrew Norwell, guard for the Carolina Panthers, started all of 2017, named as an all-pro guard, third-ranked guard according to Pro Football Focus. Just a fantastic season, a true road grader, and likely to be highly sought after in free agency. I mean, the Panthers are going to have to fight really, really hard to keep Norwell. And in a market with below-average offensive linemen, teams are going to be flocking to Norwell in my eyes. So expect the Colts, the Texans, the 49ers to take a look at Norwell here, especially the Colts. They have $84 million worth of cap space, and they could certainly use a guard. Just imagine if the Colts got Norwell, and then you have Ryan Kelly coming back at center, and then they draft Quentin Nelson out of Notre Dame. Oh, boy. That'd be a good interior there. So there's Norwell at number 8 in my free agency power rankings. Here's Case Keenum at number 7. Look, Vikings fans, enjoy your win yesterday. You're going to the NFC Championship game. According to my predictions, you're winning Super Bowl 52. But let's look ahead to the offseason real quick here. Case Keenum going to be a free agent. I think it's unlikely that he stays in Minnesota, no matter what happens in this playoff, because I think he's going to follow Pat Shurmur, the offensive coordinator, to wherever team he goes. And I think making it a package deal makes sense. Now, Arizona makes the most sense for me, but Case Keenum could just go on his own to Denver or Jacksonville, depending on how much money they offer him. So for Case Keenum, a fantastic season so far. I think it's going to impress a lot of teams out there, and I think it makes the most sense for these teams to essentially bring in Pat Shurmur too, right? Wouldn't it make sense, especially, obviously, if you're a team that's looking for a head coach? So could be a package deal. Case Keenum could be just going on his lonesome to another team like Denver. So Keenum's at number 7. Number 6 in my free agency power rankings, LaMarcus Joyner, safety for the LA Rams. He should be the priority for the Rams here to re-sign. Made huge strides playing in Wade Phillips' system on the defensive side. Passionate player. Great tandem with the youngster in the secondary, Josh Johnson. Like I said, priority. Re-sign this guy if you're LA. But with Trumaine Johnson being a free agent too, the Rams might have to cut their losses with one of these players. Also, center John Sullivan's going to be a free agent, and wide receiver Sammy Watkins. So a lot to do here if you are the Rams leadership in terms of working out all of these deals and extensions and however you want to put it. But LaMarcus Joyner, in my eyes, checking in at number 6, should be the number 1 priority for the LA Rams to bring him back there in the secondary. I think he's a great veteran presence, and like I said, he could teach a lot to Josh Johnson going forward. And Josh Johnson already had a fantastic season, so he could only get even better. So Joyner there at number 6. How about number 5 here? Wide receiver Jarvis Landry for the Miami Dolphins. How about that stat line? 112 receptions, but under 1,000 yards. The guy is a target monster, 9 touchdowns this season. And it had been reported that the Dolphins actually engaged in discussions with Landry back in December, but those negotiations stalled for a couple of weeks. And many believe, according to my research, that he's likely gone, with the Dolphins turning their attention to Devontae Parker and Kenny Stills. Watch out for these teams here to go out and get Jarvis Landry. The Patriots, the Ravens, the Cardinals. I think Landry is the ultimate Patriots wide receiver. Horizontal passing game, a target monster. Think about Brandon Cooks down the field. And then, are you kidding me? You have to defend Rob Gronkowski and Amendola and Landry underneath. That is scary stuff. So I think the Patriots are going to make a run of things against the Dolphins here and try to acquire Jarvis Landry. So watch out for him. He's number 5 in my free agency power rankings. Number 4. What a year for this guy. DeMarcus Lawrence, defensive end for the Dallas Cowboys. Unreal season in Big D. And I think he's a likely franchise tag victim here. I say victim. He's going to get paid a lot, but still. So he get fully guaranteed around $17.4 million on a one-year deal in 2018 if he were to get tagged. And he's taking a real hands-off approach to this, which I think is a good way to go about it. He's likely to remain in Dallas, okay? And he knows it too. Quote, I already know what my situation is. I really don't care about it because I already know how the Cowboys feel about me, and they know how I feel about the organization. He goes on and says, my agent is going to take care of everything. Great way to go about it, DeMarcus. And he's just chilling. I mean, he's going off and like vacationing and all this stuff, just letting his agent take care of things. DeMarcus Lawrence is a big piece to that Dallas pass rush. He had a fantastic game against the Cardinals on Monday Night Football, as we show you the highlights from that one. Big reason why he's at number 4 in my free agency power rankings here. And according to Pro Football Focus, the 4th ranked edge rusher in the league. So DeMarcus Lawrence likely to get franchise tagged by the Dallas Cowboys, and it lends me to believe here in all my readings that DeMarcus Lawrence will be okay with that. All right, let's take a look at number 3 here. Le'Veon Bell, running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Many reports out there, most notably from NFL.com, alluding to Bell likely being a franchise tag victim as well, getting around $14 million in 2018. Really good money. But we all know about the threats that Le'Veon Bell has recently made, that he'd be sitting out in 2018 or even retiring if he gets the franchise tag. And look, Le'Veon, I understand the frustration of the whole year-to-year kind of thing. No job security in a sense. You're playing year to year. But Kirk Cousins has been doing this forever, it seems. Tag after tag after tag. So if you're complaining, look at Kirk Cousins and what he has been dealing with here with the whole franchise tag situation. I mean, he could get tagged again this season. So for Le'Veon Bell to make those threats at the Pittsburgh Steelers, and by the way, he recently walked back those threats, but still alarming. Relax, Bell. Relax. And I don't think he's going to sit out all of 2018, even if he does get tagged. It's a lot of money that he would be getting in 2018. So Le'Veon Bell, of course, one of the killer bees for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's why he's at number 3 in my free agency power rankings. Number 2, the franchise of the Bay Area. Not Derek Carr. Jimmy Garoppolo, quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. He's not going anywhere, guys. He's going to be a free agent, but he is staying. John Lynch, Shanahan, they're going to be working out a long-term deal. Also, very possible they franchise tag Garoppolo, give him a full year under the Shanahan system to see how he performs. But I would not be shocked to see a long-term deal as well. Look, the Niners traded for Jimmy G for a reason. They're going to sign him either to a tag or a long-term deal, whatever it is. And if the big-time contract doesn't come this offseason, it's going to come next offseason. Unless he, absolutely stinks up the joint. But I don't think he will. I think he is the answer in San Francisco. There's so much energy now with this team. And he made so many of the offensive players look great. And they were not so good under C.J. Beathard, right? Talking about Selleck and Goodwin and company. They looked like legit offensive weapons with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. Carlos Hyde looked better as well. So he's at number 2 in my free agency power rankings. And finally, number 1, Drew Brees, quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. Now, he's not going anywhere, guys. Now, I have on my graphic here, Denver could pursue him. That's according to some of my research from local reports from the Broncos. But make no mistake, Drew Brees wants to remain in New Orleans. He is iconic in Louisiana. And, of course, now we are into the offseason for the Saints. Drew Brees can kind of kickstart those discussions. I will note this, okay? Looking back at his previous contract discussions in 2012, he said this. They were, quote, extremely frustrating. Look, guys, anything can happen in the NFL. It's a business. Who knows? Brees wants to stay, but if the financials don't line up and John Elway gives old Drew a call saying, hey, come play for Denver, we're going to set you up real good at a Super Bowl run, who's to say that he wouldn't go to Mile High? Now, all that said, Drew Brees has been vocal about staying in New Orleans, and he is at number 1 in my 2018 NFL free agent power rankings. This is the Cam Rogers Show here on Chat Sports Facebook Live. I am Cam Rogers. Check me out on Twitter at Mr. Rogers99. We appreciate the comments that are flowing in. I've got the broadcast on my laptop right here. Brian, Ryan, Chris, Douglas all chiming in with your thoughts. I'll be sure to answer them after the show is over. But a final word now about guarantees in the NFL. And Jalen Ramsey is the most recent victim. Jalen recently said that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to win the Super Bowl. Hey, Jalen, do you know what Bill Belichick is going to do now? He's going to play that clip of you saying that in every single Patriot meeting this week. And it's just bulletin board material for the Patriots, which is exactly what you don't want to do. Jalen, you don't want to do that. Because now the Patriots, they use every little bit of the exterior to fire them up. That ESPN report that came out, fuel for the fire. What you just said about winning the Super Bowl, fuel for the fire. Bill Belichick loves that stuff. He relishes in it. And Ramsey just fell victim to the Super Bowl guarantee. And Le'Veon Bell tweeting out, looking forward to playing New England in the next round. Back-to-back second rounds against Jacksonville and the Patriots. You lose. It's like, has this ever worked when we do this whole Super Bowl guarantee or the guarantee that I'm winning this week and all of that? Crazy stuff. So all the NFL players out there probably should stop guaranteeing things, especially if you're playing Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game. All right, well, this has been the Cam Rogers Show here on Chat Sports Facebook Live. We thank you for coming along for the program. If you missed any of the show, don't you worry. We will loop it for the next few hours. We got so much to show you. Highlights, rumors, and a lot more. And, of course, the breaking news at the top of your screen. Mike Mularkey, no longer the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. Thanks so much for tuning into the program. I'll see you back here Wednesday morning, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Until then, enjoy the rest of your MLK Day and enjoy your Tuesday. Take care, everybody.